Pringle looking towards Agard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, welcome again to New York Talk. Pre-season's getting seriously underway now as we have two more friendlies under the belt, plus the pre-season tour of Hungary as well. So we're going to talk about that as the players have run through some serious heat so far this pre-season, as we will do our best to sit in the heat and talk about Rotherham United for a bit. We've got the same guys as last week, so we're going to start with Mick. Hi, Mick.
Hello. All right.
You're not built for this heat, are you, mate?
No, I'm not, mate. I'm not, says he.
True. Ben's back with us. Ben's still got a pot on his arm. Ben, you are much more suited to this heat, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, okay. And Danny Glaves is with us again, mate. How are you dealing with this little heat wave we're having?
I've currently got two fans on.
Yeah,
which is at least one more than this podcast got.
So it's been a busy week for Rotherham. Like I said, there's some transfers to talk about, a couple of friendlies, which we'll talk about as well. So we'll get straight into this. No bother with England chat this week. We ain't going to bother ourselves with that, thankfully. So we played 2 games in 2 games. 2 games in 2 days is what I meant to say. I don't think it came out like that, did it? It's a 2-2 draw away at Rochdale and then a 3-1 win away at Harrogate in consecutive nights. Rochdale will be the first one. Danny, you went to the Rochdale game. If anybody wants to see the report, it's on New York Talk, which you'll be able to see Danny's report on there. Nice to go back. Wow, how many days after that horrendous day in 2020?
Oh, it's about 500 days since we last went to Rochdale. Something like that. But yeah, it was just nice to be on a proper away day, because I mean we were away at Parkgate, but it's not a proper away day. But me and my mate went across on the train, which was a titanic effort. the amount of juggling with trains you have to do around Manchester is ridiculous. But a bacon was saved by an Uber driver who got us to Rochdale station for the train home. Actually got us home, so we didn't have to get back to Sheffield about 1:30 in the morning. So we got back at about 10 to 12 instead, which is much better.
Some serious commitment for a friendly, I'll tell you, mate.
Oh, yeah.
2-0 down, pretty. Again, we've not seen this, so I'm going to come to you a lot on this, Danny. It sounded like a pretty poor performance overall from saved with a couple of heroics at the end. Is that how you would sum up the performance as well?
Yeah, I'd say we were very off pace to start with. I mean, it's only a pre-season friendly, and people have been saying don't look too much into it, but you can sort of say we look really tired, and I think that's a mixture of the heat and just coming back from Hungary. So it's one of them things where you can't blame them for being off pace in hindsight, but at the time, now that you're back watching them, you just want to come on, just get into them and score early. But 0-0 at half time wasn't too bad, I guess. I mean, we weren't the better team. Rochdale were far better, but at least with 0-0, it's like a bit of optimism for the second half. And then they get a penalty. Oh no, they score a second one. Oh no, let's just go home now. We've had enough. Let's just go home. But now Chio Ogbeni came on, changed the game completely. He's going to be a force in League One next season, because he has that ability to come on and just flip the game on its head straight away, because he went through their defence like they weren't there, won the free kick, which new signing Shane Ferguson assisted from. We'll get onto him in a bit. And yeah, it completely changed the game. So yeah, we played poorly, but you can take one positive from it in that when we've played poorly, we have that character to still grind something out of it, which you could say is quite promising for League One if we want to get out of it again.
Yeah, it's definitely. Was it a 4-4-2, the formation, did you know?
I think we started with a 4-4-2, but by the end of the first half, it looked more like a 5-3-2. Because there was, I think Matic was playing centre-back, left-sided centre-back at one point, and then Miller was wing-back.
Okay.
So, because at times it was like, what formation are we playing? And everyone who were sat around me was just like, I don't know. It's like a 5, sometimes it's like a 4, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm interested in formation. None of us went to the Harrogate game. We watched, me and Danny watched it on the worst camera angle ever. So again, it was impossible to tell the formation. But according to Paul Davis's advertiser, that was a 3-5-1-1, so 3-5-2 effectively. So it's interesting for me. I'm really interested. One of the most interesting things so far of pre-season, because not many signings, is the formation. Ben, we talked a lot on this podcast last season about formations. I am a massive fan of 3-5-2, 5-3-2, where I think it gives you so much flexibility. It's a lot more attacking than people think. Where are you sitting on the formation, Ben? Or are you just waiting until we get in? Where are you sitting on that?
It's hard to see where all players are at because you don't know who's improved, who's gone down. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard to tell because the formation that I like is the one that fits all the players we've got. I don't really see how Trio fits into the 3-5-2.
True.
You know what I mean? And he's one of our best players, I think, and one of our biggest threats. And I don't really want him bench warming for 45 minutes. But he might be able to play that right wing-back role. It's so hard having not seen him play in the flesh for so long. But I liked it last season, especially with Woody in that middle at 3. But if Crooks goes, you know what I'm saying, do you still play that formation? Because who's your attacking midfielder? You know what I mean? Who's going to sit behind the striker or going from 1 at 3 middle? So I liked it with the players we had last year, but I can't really comment on this year. So.
Okay. I mean, with League One, there might be a bit more flexibility in terms of having more attacking fullbacks. It would have been pretty scary in Championship to play Chio and Mikel Miller as your 2 wing-backs. In League One, can we maybe get away with that? Because we're going to be playing against teams. We know this from last time, Mick. How many times coming in and sat in New York and frustrated us? And when we're playing 4-4-2, it was impossible to break them down. We just really struggled. We can, and maybe not against the bigger teams, but we can maybe afford to go a bit more aggressive with our wing backs if we choose to go that formation. Yeah,
I mean the key position in that formation is wing back, as you pointed out. And looking at what we've got at the moment, we haven't really got any wing backs, any out-and-out wing backs. You know, we know Wes Harding can do it, but that's not really his game. Joe Matic can do it, but it's not really his game. If you were to play those 2 as wing backs because they can perform that role, then it cuts down your options in midfield.
But can Harding perform that role?
Yeah, I think he can.
You really can get up down that wing for 90 minutes. He's a big body. I don't think he can get up and down for 90 minutes. It's a lot of weight to carry about.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm not being. Listen, it's not like he's.
No.
He's,
no.
You know
I know
what
what you mean.
Fat,
it's not bad. Yeah, he's good weight. I just think it must be hard. I think he's more of a defensive right back. I think he's very good at what he does. I just don't think wing backs is.
Which is exactly the point. It's precisely the point. I mean, he did play that role. He did play the wing back role quite a bit last season, and you're right. It doesn't really suit him. It's a makeshift position for him. And likewise with Joe Matic, he's not a wing back particularly. Yeah, he can put a ball in and he's reasonably quick, but he's not a wing back in the true sense of the word. So I don't know.
Well,
yeah, I think he is. He's all right.
Do you remember that game last season against Stoke? I know that Tyrese Campbell was very, very quick.
Yeah,
but it looked like Matip were running backwards for about 30 seconds. So
I take that back then. Yeah, as Ben says, you know, it's difficult to know how the players have progressed pre-season. I'm interested in Mikel Miller, really interested in him because I think he's definitely got the potential to be a really, really good player, and a real threat. But I don't see him, or I'm not aware of him pulling any trees up last season at Northampton. He's very much an attacking threat rather than a wing back, in my view. So we just don't have the personnel to fit that system, I don't think, in those 2 crucial role as a wing back. I'm waffling now, to be honest. But,
fair enough. Any defence? Two goals were considered. Danny, one were a penalty, one were not. I'm led to believe that the Rochdale penalty was soft.
I thought it was personally, but from where we were in the stand, it looked like Matic barely touched him. It was more of his leg was out and he sort of like fell over his leg rather than Matic making contact with him. He made contact with Matic and then got the penalty. But I had a look on Rochdale's gallery for the game earlier today. Yesterday, sorry. And they've got a picture of the moment the penalty's effectively awarded, and Matic does have his arm round the rock, round Rick Beasley. Rick Beasley, their number 9, I think. He had his arm round his middle, so it's like, okay, it might have been a penalty then. I might have to concede that one. But their second goal, it really showed a little bit of weakness, I think. Not like on the far right-hand side where Harding is, but like that right centre-back side. Because their number 10 got the ball, went forwards, dragged our right centre-back wide, played it back across the box, and it were a goal. Nothing Victor could do about it. So it were a little bit of a weakness there, but I think at that point we still had some of the young players at the back. I think Jake Hull was still on. And he got dragged too wide. And then when Inekwe came on, we looked a lot more solid defensively. So you could put that down to experience at the back as well. But like we were saying with the whole Matic playing as a wing back, I think he can do it if he get to get forward. He's sort of quick enough, but I think he panics trying to get back. And I think that's one reason he gave the penalty away, because he was trying to come back to defend from being in an advanced position, and then just panicked and just gave the penalty away. So that might be one reason we've signed Ferguson, because when he came on, it were a lot better down that left-hand side.
Matic has got that in him where he'll just do something really stupid that doesn't make sense to anybody else, but he's just panicked and done it.
Like when he nutted Ivan Toney a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, that's true. He was just doing what we all wanted to do, weren't he, to be fair? He was just living the dream.
I don't even think that was a yellow, to be honest.
Yeah. You mentioned Shane Ferguson. Let's talk about Shane Ferguson. Mick, he's a solid player. He's one of them players I've been fully aware of for a while. He's played for Northern Ireland. I like not watching Northern Ireland play. Their internationals are very entertaining. He's a typical Northern Irish player for me. He will be very, very, very hard working, pretty good technically. He ticks a lot of ticks a lot of the Rotherham United boxes in terms of what we want in that type of player.
Yeah, and one of the things he ticked, one of the boxes he ticked that you've not mentioned there is experience. He's 30 years old, so he's still just about at the peak of his career in terms of fitness. He's got quite a few years ahead of him to play, but he's got that experience, the international experience, the championship experience as well, and that's vital because we have got a reasonably young squad. With the exception of Woody and maybe Joe Matic, everybody else they're pretty young, really. There's not, so that's certainly going to benefit us, and if he fits the mould. Which it sounds like he does very much so from his past experience, then yeah, absolutely, good signing, and it might remove a little bit of that panic that we've not spent millions yet. So
yeah, it's a free transfer, Danny, and he played left wing back against Rochdale. Is that right?
Yeah, he did. He came on in the second half. Improved the left side a lot more, and I know it sounds bad, but he's a lot shorter than I thought he was going to be.
Nothing wrong with that.
Because I watched his interview, and it's like he could be quite a tall bloke, but he's more of a compact player. He's definitely more of a left-sided midfielder than he is left back, like in terms of body shape and his pace. But on the left side, he did really well. He got into good areas. He put a lot of good balls in the box, including the free kick, which Icky headed in. And then in the Harrogate game, he started and was a threat down the left side again. So he might be possibly a starting left sider, and then Miller comes on for him, or vice versa. So I'm just looking forward to see what he does in League One. And like Mick says, he's got experience. He's got a lot of experience in the Championship. He's got a bit of experience in League One with Millwall. And then topped up with being an international and a bit of Premier League experience too. So he was quite an exciting player, and let's see what he does.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's first real signing. I know we got the third choice keeper who did play against Harrogate, which is our first real signing. It takes, like Danny says, Ben, it takes pressure off Warney a little bit, because before that you're getting a lot of worry. And I suppose to an extent it's fair that we haven't signed anybody, but it's a sign that's ticked every box.
But the thing is, I don't understand this norm of you have to sign players. You don't. If the manager is happy, you don't have to. There's this norm of feeling like you have to go out and sign players, and that's just you know what I mean. It's just not right.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't get it. If he signs one player and we go up, no one's going to complain.
I don't think we're finished. So,
I don't care. If he's happy with the squad. He's been with the squad long enough that he's happy with the squad. So, I'm not worried at all.
You're right, Ben. It is a norm, and you know, you get all these clubs, and you see the supporters all over social media about, you know, we've signed so and so, we've signed this, we've made this signing, we've made that signing. Clubs don't learn. You don't have, like Ben says, you don't have to make all these signings, but just because you come into a bit of money or whatever, you splash it all over the place. You start splashing cash and buying players for the sake of buying it. If Paul Warne and his team have proved anything, is that they are meticulous in the research that they do. And yeah, they're going to make some mistakes. Yeah, they're going to sign some howlers, because that's just that's the nature of the beast. But they ain't going to be, they ain't going to be signing 150 players, 67 of which are howlers, like Steve Evans did. You know what I mean?
Thing is,
they're going to do the research and work.
When they do sign howlers, it's not going to lose club $5 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm with Ben on this, definitely. You know, if we'd not signed anybody, I wouldn't be running around the street screaming and shouting and panicking, because I put my trust in them. I trust them. I trust them to do what's right for the club.
I think there's a basis of a really good team. You've got probably 10 to 14 players there who are very good League One players. Beyond that, we lack a lot of depth. You look at the teams that played against Rochdale Harrogate, there were a lot of kids. And it's a good sign that we're playing kids. I'm happy with that. But if we got to day one of the season and this was what we had, we're already showing how weak we are in defence, and not performance-wise, depth-wise. We've got Tilton, Angus MacDonald out, and we're going to struggle. Icky came off against Harrogate with feeling his groin. I assume it's nothing. I assume it was precautionary. But all it takes is something like that, and we are deep in the mire in terms of depth.
How is there so many injuries? I don't get it. It's a non-contact sport. It baffles me how many injuries there is.
I don't know. What I'd like to do one day is get a sports scientist on and physio with you, and then we can talk about it with you. Because I don't know. Players do get injured, don't they?
Yeah, but it's a non-contact sport. How do they get so many injuries? I don't.
Yeah, you don't pull your groin and you don't pull your hamstring from contact.
Yeah, but how are they? It's so many. That's what baffles. It makes me. I don't know. It's so many. It's the same people.
And we don't know what Angus MacDonald's injury is yet. That's still been kept.
We don't know what Tilt's injury is yet. He was back on field again today.
He was back again today. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, it sounded like he got his leg amputated, and now he's back on field. What's going on? It baffles me. What's going on here? Is he running? Is he not? Come on.
It's really cross that Paul Warne described it as a severe hamstring injury when it's not severe.
I'm not cross. I'm just baffled. I can't figure out why, and it's annoying me.
He sent a strongly worded email to the club expressing his disgust.
We're short in depth in a few areas. Central midfield, Bandan Barley is just going to be a superb midfielder in League One. Jimmy Lindsay is going to be a superb. Beyond that, we look
wild.
Wiles. Yeah, there's no depth there. Right hand side of defence, you've got Wes Harding. That's it at minute.
If you're playing five at back, you can play wingbacks, aren't you?
Yeah, but you're still lacking in numbers, aren't you? That's all I'm saying. I'm not worried in terms of those let's say 14 first team players. I have no worries about their quality. They're top for me. They could get us into top 6, but all it takes is a COVID outbreak where a couple of players get COVID and they're out for 10 days. You know, a stupid red card, which Woody might do by tripping a player over or something like that. We need a few more bodies. Joe Massick headbutting somebody again. No. That's the only thing that worrying me. There's no quality issues at the minute. It's just a depth issue. Yeah. But again, you're right. What you said, Mick, it's got to be the right sign. I don't want to see and bring in 5 players who are clearly not going to play. They're just bodies. They've got to give something to the team. But that makes it difficult because we've got a good team. So to then improve upon what we've got and not make them just numbers for the sake of numbers is difficult. Adding to the mix, it's the strangest and quietest transfer window that literally anybody's ever seen. It's just,
nobody's got any
it's
money.
Interesting.
That's why.
Well, exactly.
That's why. Nobody's got any money, have they?
It's still waiting for it to filter down. Arsenal Ben White to Brighton's going to have a big impact because then Brighton will sign a couple of players from Championship for a bit of money. Then that'll filter down to League One. It's just a matter of filtering down and waiting for it to happen. COVID's really, really not helped. Other than Ipswich and Wigan, I don't think many people have signed anybody in this league.
And the only reason they've signed people is because they've got new owners who've injected money into them. It's like we saw the rumblings on Twitter of all the Ipswich fans going, "Oh, Matt Crooks is going to come to us because we can pay more money than you." And it's like, lads, it's not about who can pay the most money. That's not how. Well, it's not how football at this level works anyway. Because Ipswich have been splashing the cash for however many seasons and they still finished 10th. So
yeah,
you know, and that's the reason they have to spend money because they've been finishing 10th, around 10th season after season. Whereas we've come down, brought in the right players, and gone back up again. So, I know people like to have a go at our recruitment side of things, but you have to admit it works for League One.
Oh yeah,
You know, it's like last time in League One we brought in about 12 players. We lost 17 and brought in 12, something like that. But we've come down this time, and the only players we've lost are the ones we've released, loans going back, and then Clark and potentially Crooks. So that's not a big issue. Like you say, we've got quality in this team that we've been able to keep together so far, but we just need to just back it up with people who will not only improve the team and challenge them to do better themselves, but also if one of the starters gets injured, we've got a good backup at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. And to be fair, you know, I tell you something else as well. You look at some of the big names that have gone from our club over the last couple of 3 seasons. Bear in mind, we are Rotherham United. We've all supported Rotherham United for a long, long, long time. We are now selling players for £1 million plus money. We've never done that. We've never been close to that. We've never been close to even half that in the past. But we're selling players for £2 million, £2.5 million, £1 million and a bit, possibly for Matt Crooks. It sounds like. Plus, we're putting sell-on fees in there as well. You know, this is not Rotherham United territory. This has never been Rotherham United territory, and the only reason it is because of the work that's been done at the club by Paul Warne and his team.
Look at the loan players that have come out as well. You got Vodak, who's a Premier League goalkeeper. Yeah. Izzy Brown, who should have gone on to do greater things, but
he's done his Achilles again, hasn't he?
I know. Oh god!
Literally, every time he tries his shoelaces.
He should have gone to play Premier League, starting in Premier League. Kiefer Moore scored in the mid-tournament a couple of weeks back. Semi Ajayi were one of our loans. Do you know what I mean?
Initially, yeah.
Like, this has got such a good system. It's amazing. I can't speak for history because I'm quite young, but like it doesn't sound like we were like this in the past. Like, I'm glad was born when I was born.
No, we weren't. And you know, it's really, really important. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. If we can maintain the culture that we've got at this club and the staff and the core of the staff that we've got there, this is just the beginning. And I mean, the last 8 years have been fantastic for the most part. It's certainly been a roller coaster, literally. But this is the beginning. I'm telling you now. While ever these people remain in charge.
Okay, I like positivity, mate.
Come on.
We might as well talk about Crooks. I've mentioned him. The fee is rumoured to be around 1.5 million in total, and you've got to assume there'll be an add-on in there because there always is when it comes to Rotherham United selling players. On paper, it sounds like it's not a lot of money, but you've got to bear in mind he's in the last year of his contract. COVID has had a massive impact on valuation of players. If you take COVID out of this situation, you get at least another $500,000 for Crooksy, but you've got to take that into account. It's all right saying, "Well, just don't sell him then." That'd be silly to do that. And it's not only would it probably not be right for Rotherham, it certainly wouldn't be right for the player to turn it down for a few $100,000. And I think it's the club do right by their players as well as the club. More importantly, the club obviously. But that Danny 1.5-ish is the rumour. Do you think that's based on what we just said? Do you think that's about value?
I'd say, given the current time, I'd say it's about right. I mean, we could have sold Crooksy for similar money to we did with Volks when we got about $2.5 million for him. So without COVID, it could be as high as that. But it's a decent profit for us at the end of the day because I think he's got a 20% sell on at Northampton, so we could end up owing them about 250,000. So we're looking at maybe about a 900,000 profit on Crooks from a player who was not the best at Northampton and not really that much of a star man, shall we say, a bit like Michael Smith. But we've moulded him into this player who's big and powerful, but he's also good on the ball. He's good at going forward. He's good at getting back. So we've moulded him into this player who we paid 200K for into a $1.5 million player, and I think that is quite a good showing for our ethos as a club. We're a club who've got a record transfer payment of 400,000 for Ladipo, but a record selling of 2.5 million. So for a club of our size with big clubs around us, that really shows how well this team is doing. But for Crooks going to Middlesbrough potentially, I think it's the right move for him personally. He's still in Yorkshire. He's still got his local connections. He's a very Warnock style player, in my opinion. Is Crooks, so I think it's perfect for him.
Well, Colin will love him, won't he?
Oh yeah,
he will love him.
Yeah. It does. I like it. It likes buying players of us, doesn't it? Every time we go down, just outside a couple. We've Rotherham got going. I'll spend a couple of million quid on them. It just loves Rotherham that much. He just wants all our players.
It's a gift that keeps giving, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm still holding that hope he's going to send Lewis Wingbacks the other way as a loanee as well, or something. But there's been no rumours on that, so that's just me holding on hope. I think. It's a shame. Wouldn't it be amazing though?
Yeah. I read the other day that he's a free agent now. I thought his contract was
next year.
Next year.
He's 1 year left.
Right.
If we go back, if we go up, I don't see why I wouldn't want to come back.
Depends what happens in this summer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This season, sorry. I don't think he's not going to play under Warnock, the wing, and that's the thing. If you're not going to play, player. He's not all a Warnock player. He's not all. He's too much time at ball.
Too much of a star. Yeah. If that makes sense. He's too much of a star.
Whether he is or not, one is talked about that where he's not. It looks a bit like it, but I don't think he is actually ego type. He clearly isn't. He wouldn't come to the club in the first place, would he? But I can see it looks like that on the pitch. When you see Lewis Wing play football, it looks like a typical ego-driven football because that's just how he plays the game. But that's clearly not the case. So I say otherwise, one is not going to sign somebody who's just in it for himself, is he? Let's be right. Yeah. But anyway, back to Crooks. Ben has touched on it there, but from the player he was when he came in, he's now a championship player. He is a bona fide championship player. What do you reckon?
We're just a battering ram when he came in. To be honest with you, he weren't technically half the player he is. It was just tall. You know what I mean? He could tall and he just got about. I think it shows what our most of that training and coaching abilities can do. Yeah, I think 1.5's generous. I mean, like generous for them, not for us. I don't think it estimates his value, but you know what I mean, it's certain situations. And we went down as well. I think if we'd have stayed up, that'd had another 500,000. COVID, probably another 500,000. So, given the circumstances, can't really complain with walking away with 900 grand profit, can you? So.
No. And at times when we could do it cash. There's another way of putting it.
Right, yeah.
I remember his debut, Mick, against Leeds United in 2019, something like that. And he came on, touched the ball, it went 3 yards in front of him, but just for good measure, he cleaned out one of Leeds players, absolutely clattered him. And it was just like, here we go. I don't care if he's any good at football. If he's going to tackle like that, we've got a player here. And it went from strength to strength.
You mentioned before we started recording, you messaged me earlier on about thinking about some of our favourite moments with Matt Crooks. Well, that's mine. That 100%, that one tackle, that just sums him up. It just sums him up. You know, he's full of heart, he's full of passion, he's full of strength. And now having spent 2 years here with Paul Warne and his team, he's also full of ability as well. He's now a Pucker Gen Championship footballer. No question about that. Genuine.
Pucker Gen?
Ah. Is that it's an old man phrase, clearly. Genuine and Championship footballer. Answers on a postcard if you've ever heard that before. You won't even know what a postcard is, will you?
I don't know what a postcard is, come on. Even I know what a postcard is.
Yeah. I'm pleased for him. For what it's worth, I don't think it's enough. But under the circumstances, I think it's probably all you can expect for all the reasons you've discussed.
Do we have a favourite goal, Ben? Do you have a other moment, favourite goal from Crooks? Because he's scored a fair few goals, to be fair.
I think that one against Swansea, when we lost in that.
That was a good goal, that.
Loss. I just remember coming to...
From sort of behind keeper when it sort of came... defender, sorry.
Yeah, we're not edge at box volley, weren't it?
That's what I mean, but he had to come across defender to...
I was like, don't shoot.
I'm sure their keeper pulled up a worldie against him and all in second half.
Yeah. But I just think I hope he doesn't shoot because he's going over the stand. And it just went in back of net. I thought, wow. When he shoots, especially when he first got here, it looks like, well, this is you know what I'm saying? So it was the man of head, do you know what I mean? And then it just goes in the bottom corner. But that's Swansea one because that would have probably kept us up if we won that game.
Well, I can't believe you reminded me of that game again.
God, here we go.
It's virtually every podcast, Ben.
I started getting hard to be honest after that game walking back.
Yeah, that was a good day. It wasn't a good day, but it was nice weather. Danny, favourite Crooksy moment, goal? What do you think?
I'll do one for goal and one for moment, but the moment's sort of a goal anyway. Favourite goal was against Gillingham in
miles out.
Yeah, from miles because I was on the scaffolding stand. It's meant to be a temporary stand, but it's just scaffolding and seats. And we were all sat on there, and Crooksy picks up the ball from, I can't remember who it was, who flicked it past one of their defenders, and he just starts running with it, and we're all going, keep running with it, and he just hits it, and it's like, no, it's gone in. And it's nuts. But my favourite moment has to be when he scored against Lincoln, because that's after the whole Jordan Sinnott thing happened, and you could just see how much it meant to him. Because all the fans in the away end going nuts, and he just collapses because it meant so much to him. So for me, that's my favourite moment, Crooksy moment, because you just saw the sheer emotion on him. And I think that's one reason why he'll always remember Rotherham United, because the Jordan Sinnott thing happened, and he was able to craft this whole charity idea behind it with the shirts that have Sinnott 25 on them. the foundation, and then that goal happened. So that's Crooksy for me. That generous bloke.
Yeah.
Be a lot of heart and emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. We could talk about his football ability all day, but the stuff he's done off the field, with the stuff he's gone through while at Rotherham United, the strength he had to show to come back. A few days after playing the Ipswich game was one of the most. As a fan, watching him play, it took a toll emotionally. I could only imagine how he pulled himself through to play that game. But it was obviously very important to him, and like you said, the stuff he's done with Johnson at Foundation will live on as well. He's leaving us, but it was something we'll all support forever because Matt Crooks is our player. Although he's leaving us, he will always be a Rotherham United player in our heart, in our minds and things like that. So I'm going to miss Crooksy. I love a lot about him. I'm going to miss him. But it's football, isn't it? These things happen. Yeah. Players leave, and I'm sure they've got something lined up to come in going forward. So let's move on to transfer incomings. We've mentioned Shane Ferguson. We had a trialist against Harrogate. I really, really enjoyed the Twitter detectives do their work, Danny. I such enjoyed it. It's him. And finally pulled it with the Bobby Camwa from Leeds United, trialist under 23. He did okay for me. I don't think he did anything outstanding, but he looked strong, decent on ball, quick. It looked like there's something there.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look out of place on our front line. It was one of them players where he sort of looks like a perfect backup up front to Smith. Because we've got the towering forward that holds it up, then we've got the nippy forward that runs past him and then picks up the loose ball. And I think the reason he didn't really do anything exceptional is because I've been told that he just turned up on the day and basically said, right, I'm playing for Rotherham. So to say he's done that and then got 66 minutes and he's played really well, he must be some player at Leeds just to have that ability. But no, I thought he did really well, and it was just a shame that he didn't get an assist and a goal because that would have just capped it off really for me.
Yeah, it would. I spoke to Odin, from Northern Monkeys. He's a big Leeds fan, and he knows nothing about him, so he was completely useless. I thought I'd give a mention of how useless he was to my research on him.
I have been able to get a bit of research on him from Russ Vernon because he watches a lot of Leeds under 23s matches, and he says last season in the Premier League 2, is it, for their under 23s, he played 11 times, 3 of which were sub appearances, and he scored twice during the season where they won the league. So he's in and around Leeds under 23s, but you never know. Alone might do him good at a club like ours.
Definitely, it's that age, Mick. 22-year-old needs to go play competitive football. They did, like Danny mentioned, they did go win Premier League 2, which is effectively the reserve league for Premier League teams. But there's no substitute for playing professional football, especially at the League One.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's from Cameroon as well, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
And Cameroon have got some pedigree, really. In terms of producing some cracking footballers, and grafters, hard-working footballers, which will fit that Warney mould as well. So yeah, I mean, I spoke to my sort of Leeds United contact who I work with, and he'd never heard of him either. So yeah, I mean, on that basis, I'm not convinced that he's done a massively good job, but he's a young lad. And that would suggest he's mouldable as well, wouldn't it? So we'll see what happens with that one. It's one to watch, isn't it? I'm sure there'll be some more irons in fire as well. We'll see.
Yeah, Ben, I'm going to interrupt you yawning. Sorry for keeping you up, mate. Jesus. Anything to add on Bobby Camwa, trialist? So I'll recap for you, mate. You've been asleep, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got a Leeds contact. I feel a bit left out. But what position does he play?
Striker.
He has been asleep, hasn't he?
Oh, striker. Sorry, yeah, no, it's a striker. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, 2 goals in 11 games for Leeds. He's not the best, but then again, we were Premier League, weren't they? Premier League 2. We're playing against Premier League under 23s as well.
Yeah.
That's good. I think the reason that I'm saying Leeds fans might not have heard of them because they're in the Premier League, and you know what I mean. They're not really paying attention to under-23s because you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to go down that far. But I mean, if he's playing for a Bielsa team, then it can't be too bad. Or Bielsa club can't be. You know what I mean, it can't be too bad, can you? Can't be too dumb, too football dumb.
Yeah, he's got a year left in his contract at Leeds, so I don't know. It's interesting. He's only on trial. He did only play one game. He is on trial for a few days. If he plays against Grimsby on Saturday, I think that tells us there is a serious interest. So I think it'll be interesting to see if he plays that game or not. The only other transfer rumour I'm seeing at the minute, and it's a strong one, is a Sean Rooney one from St Johnstone. We put a £200,000 bid in probably a month or so ago, maybe a bit less than that, which was pushed back by St Johnstone. I think they initially wanted about double that, maybe slightly more than double that. But again, according to Paul Davis, they've seriously softened their transfer stance. I assume the players asked for a move. That's unofficially, but that's to drop the valuation down by so much says to me something else. So something's changed. And again, rumour is they want about 250,000, which we've been putting our bid up by 50k. He is a right back, double 2 cup winners last season in the Scottish League Cup, Scottish FA Cup. So he's had a good season. It's interesting, mate. We're nip into the Scottish League. Same with Jamie Lindsay. Same with Will Volks. It gets a lot of criticism, the Scottish League, and rightly so, because at times it is absolute dog meat.
Yeah.
But there is clearly some good players up there, and this could be another one, because St Johnstone fans look really disappointed he's going to leave.
Yeah, it's certainly ruffled a few feathers in St Johnstone's fan base on it. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously some gems up there. Clearly, there are, as there are in every league. No matter what the sort of the footballing level. So I know nothing about the guy, to be honest. I genuinely don't. And all I can do, like I keep saying, if they think he's the right man, I'm happy. That'll do me. And if he comes in and he's not, then we can start to criticise it, perhaps, maybe. But no, I mean, if they valued him at 400k. And now they're willing to come down that far, then it's probably going to be a done deal, isn't it? Yeah,
I'd be amazed if it's not. Danny, any other transfer rumours that you've heard? That is literally all I've heard so far. Those Rooney.
Yeah, the Sean Rooney one does seem to be gathering a bit of pace now, because I remember when the rumour first broke, and the whole thing of we offered 200k, because this guy who I know. On Twitter, who was up in Scotland. I think he's a Hamilton fan. And he was talking to me about it, saying there's no way you'll get him for that low, because he's worth at least double, if not maybe 500, 600k. And got a little bit annoyed with him because of the Euros, but we'll leave that there. And to say St Johnstone have dropped it down to if he gets 250, you can have him. When it's gone from 600 to 300 to 250, it's a bit. There's something happened there. Like maybe he's heard of the interest and he's like, I want to go and try my luck in England. I don't know. But one rumour I have seen that's like fizzling nicely on the stove is I think it's Connor Coventry at West Ham.
I've heard that one. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a rumour he might be coming in on loan to fill in our midfield potentially if Crooksy leaves. So that'll be interesting to see. Young, hungry player, needs a bit of match experience. It's gone well with Premier League teams in the past. It's also gone very, very poorly. Not to mention names, but we all know what I mean. So it'd be interesting to see if that pays off. Same with Sean Rooney, because if he comes in, he's a right back. So does that mean he'd play in the back four and Harding's the wing back in a back five, like change the system? I'm not sure, but if he's coming in as adequate, if not matching back up, then fair play, good bit of business. And for that amount of money, it's just following the same suit as Volks and Lindsay. Bring him in cheap, develop him, and like with Volks, is our record transfer, like I've mentioned. and Lindsay's done well. So hopefully it's another gem from Scotland.
Yeah, it's a saleable point, Ben, as well, isn't it? Because it's been frozen. Ben and Mick are frozen. Fantastic. Just at the back. I'll come to you down until they come back. It's a saleable asset for us. It's all, our transfer history of bringing people in and moving them on is almost as valuable as any player we've got, because we can say, right, as part of the process, you can say, right, we've got Will Vaulks, he almost got it Premier League. We've brought in Jamie Lindsay, he's had a fantastic year in Championship. Come down to us, it's brilliant here.
Yeah. I think Ben's back. He's gone and hit the router and he's come back.
He's broke his other wrists.
You ask me a question?
Go on then, mate. Yeah, I'll ask you now, mate. This is
go on then. Say.
I was just saying the fact we've brought in several players from Scotland and it's worked out recently is a really good saleable point for something like Sean Rooney. Sean Rooney will be talking. You know, football's quite a small community. He will probably, if he doesn't know Jimmy Lindsay and people like that, he'll have a way of speaking to them and think, "Wow, what's this like?" You know, he's clearly enjoying himself, Lindsay, and he's successful. These are all good points to want to come to a club like us.
Well, I think everyone knows that Scottish football is not the best of quality, but it's very physical, which League One is, and is kind of the football we play. Especially Vaulks and Lindsay, who, you know, saying kind of use that as a strength against other people, especially Vaulks. I mean, you know what I mean, and Lindsay for that matter. For my special Vaulks. So
Lindsay's like a terrier, isn't he?
Yeah. If he wants to come in and have a scrap and push some people off football, then why not? I don't think that'll fit in the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 or whatever you want to call it. I don't think that's the type of football that works well in that system. But if you want to play a 4-4-2, go nice in English and get a bit physical, then I'm all for it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. They won 2 cups last year, as I mentioned, St Johnstone. So if he comes to us, he's giving up European football from St Johnstone, which is really interesting to me.
European football, they're going to get smashed like 10-0 every game, aren't they?
It doesn't matter, does it? It's European football.
True, that's true.
But like, I like that. It shows intent for if it all comes through. That shows intent from the player that he thinks we're going somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I like. So yeah, we've got a couple more friendlies coming up to finish off the friendly schedule. We've got Grimsby Town on Saturday, Newcastle on Tuesday, and Middlesbrough on Friday. So Matt Crooks will get a welcome back next Friday. Me and Mick have got tickets for the Newcastle game. I can't go to the Middlesbrough game. I'm away for that one. Danny, what are your visit plans for all these remaining friendlies?
I've got me. Hang on. Got me Grimsby ticket at the ready. And just need to get Newcastle and Middlesbrough sorted. And yeah, I'm going to everyone that I can.
So excited. I can't wait to get back on Tuesday. I'm really looking forward to it. Should be a good crowd. Hopefully I assume we're going to let away fans in. We're not going to do Harrogate and just say people can't come in. So hopefully it'll be a real decent atmosphere for a friendly.
Just to go on to the topic of Harrogate, I've got a bone to pick with them. Because I can sort of understand why they didn't let away fans in, because of this whole thing of a red zone that's appeared because of COVID. But I think it's like space around where the players are. I think that's what the red zone is.
Right. Okay.
But and like with going to Rochdale, from going to Rochdale to Harrogate in consecutive days, it could be like, all right, that might be a spreading risk. But how come like a few. Like, I think it was like within the hour before the game kicked off, we had Sunderland tweet out saying away tickets for Harrogate now on sale. It's a bit, you know, why is that then?
Yeah,
you know, it's
it
a bit.
Makes sense to me. It does seem really strange. I don't understand it. And then we get to pay £10 to watch the game. You can watch the game. You pay £10. The camera angle was one of the worst camera angles I've ever seen at a football game. There was no replays, so I missed all 3 goals because I looked at my phone for 1 minute and missed third goal, and there were no replay. So I didn't see that. Really disappointing from Harrogate. Overall disappointing. I don't want to. We're not here to dig at other clubs particularly, but I think overall that was quite poor.
Yeah, and when you've got a camera angle that when it's going to the far side of the pitch, all you can see is railings and then one side of the goal here. It's a bit could have run a bit better for a £10 game. Bear in mind we were paying £10 to watch a relegation scrap in the Championship, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't care what we think.
Yeah, if I get a message from someone at Harrogate going, that's a bit unfair, it's like, oh no.
So we're gonna wrap up there this week. I think we've covered just about everything we can cover for now. So we will be back probably similar time next week. Certainly after the Newcastle game, probably before the Middlesbrough game is our aim for next week, and then the week leading up to the season, we'll probably get 2 or 3 episodes like that a week. See if we can get some proper reviews done from a few different people. See if we can mix it up in the week leading up, and then when the season starts, we'll let you know what it is as and when. In the meantime, you can always check out newyorktalk.co.uk. We've got today's match reports from the Rochdale games are up there. We'll have a few things in the next week from Lewis Oldham, who's got something in the pipeline about Victor Johansson coming up in the next week or so. Lewis will be joining us for the next episode as well. He'll be back. He'll be with us, making his debut for the next episode. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Keep your phone on, Danny.
That will do, don't worry. Book it off work, Lewis, come on.
Yeah. And I can't wait to get back with my fellow Millers fans on Tuesday back at New York, under the lights eventually. I always hope it's not this hot, otherwise that'll be worth it.
I've released some information today about getting back into the grounds and everything else, and I have noticed that I've not seen anything in there. I've read it a couple of times. I've not seen anything in there about these COVID passports and everything else. You know, having to prove that you had a negative test. None of this stuff is included in there, so hopefully that'll continue. I understand you do have to have a microchip implanted into the back of your skull so that they can monitor your every move and make sure that you don't. But other than that, I think we'll all be fine. So
they want people to wear masks, don't they? Not while you're sitting down, but while you're moving around. Is the request on the website, which is for me fair enough. I'm sure some people won't like it, but that's fine by me. Thank you all for listening. Please subscribe to iTunes and YouTube if you want to watch us on YouTube. You can always get us on there. Like the video, if you please, as well. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you're watching and listening, please. Ben, it's been a pleasure. I know we've kept you up longer than normal. That's why the yawns came in. You won't be with us next week, will you, Ben? Because you'll have training.
What day?
We'll talk about this afterwards.
Oh, wait, the
No, don't worry about it.
I'll be late, but we will.
Yeah. Mick, I'm sure you'll always be here.
Might not be. Who knows? I will be, yeah.
Okay, cheers.
Oh, am I kidding?
And Danny, appreciate you doing this again. This last minute jobby, but we appreciate you doing this again, mate. And we'll certainly see you back on you very, very soon.
Yeah, no worries. Always happy to jump on this and fill in where I can. Cheers,
mate. And thank you all for listening. Like I said, we do really appreciate it, and we'll keep some stuff coming up for the next few weeks, and we'll see you very soon. Cheers, guys.
Pringle looking towards Agard. Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant.